May I remind you that we have over 10 million Chinese residing in Africa, where we have welcomed them with open arms. We have allowed the Chinese to establish themselves to marry.
YouTube, it's a girl lilymutamztv, also known as lilymutamztv. Zambia. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe so that each time I upload videos, you will be notified that lilymutamztv has uploaded a video.
Hi everyone, this video is in regards to what's been happening in China and how black people have been left stranded on the streets of China simply because the Chinese believe that they are carriers of the coronavirus. Now, the former AU boss is talking about how disappointed she is that this is happening to black people. Why should black people be discriminated against as if the coronavirus started in Africa? Because most of those people who are in the streets are Africans. Why them? Why not other races? Why only African people? Comment in the comment section below what you think of her speech. I think she was really on point and she shared her disappointment in what's going on in China. Watch this video.
To my fellow African diaspora, a very good day to all of you. My name is Ambassador Arikana Chihombori Kwao. Over the past couple of days, I've received many messages, emails, phone calls, and video clippings of the abuse that is being meted to our fellow African diaspora living in China. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets of China with their possessions after being evicted out of their homes simply because they're Africans. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets with their suitcases and at times with nothing at all, roaming the streets after being thrown out of their hotel rooms simply because they're Africans. I have watched in horror women carrying babies roaming the streets of China with nowhere to go after being thrown out of their homes simply because they're Africans. I've heard many stories of Africans who are married to Chinese being separated from their husbands or wives simply because they were Africans. I've heard stories about Africans being forced to take COVID-19 tests simply because they're Africans. In many cases, these individuals did not meet criteria for testing, or they had been quarantined for the specified time period as mandated by the anti-pandemic laws of China. Not once have I heard any complaints of any African disobeying the anti-pandemic laws of China. Why is it then that Africans are being singled out and mistreated? This situation is not acceptable. It is wrong, and it will not be tolerated. To President Xi, I say, while you have enjoyed good relationships with all the African leaders, it is precisely because of that you should do the right thing. You are sitting in the big boy's chair, and we are asking you to make the big boy decisions. We're counting on you to make sure that the Africans that are roaming the streets and have been evicted from their homes be allowed to go back home. We're also asking you to make sure the Africans who are roaming the streets because they have been thrown out of their hotel rooms be allowed to go back to their hotel rooms. As we speak, President Xi, may I remind you that we have over 10 million Chinese residing in Africa, where we have welcomed them with open arms. We have allowed the Chinese to establish themselves to marry Africans and live happily ever after in our Africa. Why can't Africans be awarded the same welcome that we have given to millions of your citizens? What is being done to Africans in China is deplorable, and the world cannot stand by and allow it to continue. While we understand that the majority of the Chinese are good people, they're good citizens in China as well as in Africa. However, sadly, among them, there are a few bad apples. A few bad apples that have chosen to give China a bad name. A few bad apples that are making China look bad in the eyes of the Africans. This is a situation that cannot be allowed to continue. President Xi, you are a good man. And we would like the relationship between China and the African governments to continue unabated. But the behavior that's coming from a few of your citizens will not be tolerated. And we're counting on you to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The Africans are no longer going to tolerate this abuse. From the Chinese or anybody else for that matter. The African youth are enraged. We're asking, when is enough going to be enough? President Xi, the power is in your hands. We value, as Africans, our relationship with China. Please do not allow a few bad apples within your citizens to ruin what is otherwise a wonderful relationship between China and the African countries. As a united citizens, as a united African citizens in the diaspora, we're asking you, President Xi, to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The children of Africa are saying, enough is enough. The abuse of Africans at home and abroad, be it in China or on the continent, has got to stop. You may not be aware of some of these abuses, but as a united African citizenry in the diaspora, we hope you will receive our message in the spirit with which it is being delivered to you. You are a good man, President Xi. We trust you will do the right thing. I thank you.
That was a very powerful speech, I must say. Up next is a video from Mohamed Nsereko, a honorable from Uganda, who calls upon all African heads of state to address this issue that's going on in China with blacks being stranded, specifically Africans. Uganda, Zambia, Nigeria, all the countries that have been mentioned, please do something.
My name is Mohamed Nsereko. I represent the people of Kampala in the Parliament of Uganda. This is a message to the leadership of the People's Republic of China. Please, this is the time you have to prevail over a section of your people who have started acts of discrimination, torture and racism against all African people and brothers who are in China. We condemn all these acts. We in Africa, we've welcomed over 1 million Chinese who are doing all sorts of business to an extent that even some have been granted citizenship. And in return, a certain section of Chinese have started treating our brothers and sisters, sons and daughters like garbage, rejecting and ejecting them from hotels, rental homes, places of work, denying them entry into hospitals, malls and trains. It pains when African brothers are shown on videos entering hotels and they are being told to stay out. It pains us when African brothers and sisters are entering buses and they are told they cannot enter those buses just because they are black. This type of acts are unacceptable, criminal, and we shall not accept them in this time and era. I call upon all our people not to embrace revenge, but let's speak about these heinous acts that are being mounted on our brothers and sisters by a certain section of Chinese. I don't know how great men and women who have died could be feeling in their graves. They must be turning. The likes of Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, George Washington, Julius Nyerere, Winnie Mandela, Mama Teresa, Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, Patrice Lumumba, John Garang. These are people that put their lives on the line to fight for equality and justice for the black race and for everyone in the world. I call upon all African leaders. This is the time that your voices are needed. Let's put all our political differences aside and stand up for the African race in the spirit of Pan-Africanism. This is the time for all foreign ministers in Africa to summon all the Chinese ambassadors and register all our protests. Oh, you President Muhammad Buhari of Nigeria, the Nigerians need you now. President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, the South Africans need you now. Prime Minister Abiy of Ethiopia, the Ethiopians need you now. President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, the Kenyans need you now. President John Pombe Magufuli of Tanzania, the Tanzanians in China need you now at this moment. President Edgar Lungu of Zambia, the Zambians who are living in China need you more than ever. President Felix Tshisekedi of DRC, your people need you now. President Paul Biya of Cameroon, please stand up and roar. President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, stand up and roar. President Yoweri Museveni, this is your time to roar and tell the Chinese that this is not the way to treat Africans. President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, this is your time to roar and tell the Chinese that you must respect the African people. This is a struggle for the Africans. We must stand up and embrace it, led by God who is the source of life. We shall liberate our African people.
Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button and follow me on all social media platforms. It's simply at lilymutamztv.